and see our beautiful faces. Good afternoon. Please type in the chat box if you can hear and see us, because we had to do a little backstage thing just to get our special guest familiar with the platform. But let me know if you can see and hear us. Please type in the chat box. Let me know if you can see and hear us. Yes, no? Yes, audio and video works. Thank you so much. So welcome to, I think this is our second workshop series. Last month we did one on stocks. This month we're doing one on Pinterest. And this morning I spent all my time updating and transferring my Pinterest account from personal to business and updating it because I am ready to learn. You're not here to hear from me. I'm Dwaynia, by the way. I'm so terrible at that introduction part. I'm Dwaynia, owner of Canadian Small Business Women, and I like to do things like this. I am going to step back and hand this over to the expert, okay? Because you don't want to hear from me. The expert, Christina Willis herself, is going to teach us everything we need to know. So make sure you are interactive in the chat. There's a poll that I would love for you all to fill out and to answer. And yeah, the floor is going to be Christina's, and I am going to step back. Have a good time, I guess, everyone. Christina, good luck.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so I'm sorry, guys. I am just getting things prepared for you. Okay. I hope everybody can see the screen here. But yeah, so the presentation about Pinterest, all about Pinterest. This is going to give you the basic understanding of Pinterest and how you can use it for your business. Okay, Pinterest is such a great tool. Not a lot of people understand it, and that's okay. But I'm here to help you to just get the basic, like I said, understanding going with Pinterest, so you can use it effectively and generate leads and grow your online visibility. So big welcome to everybody. You've taken the time to come to this presentation. I know everybody's taken their, you might have had family so that you had to kind of like arrange to watch your little ones. I know I did, but I appreciate you being here. This is honestly my favorite thing to talk about. I could talk about Pinterest all the time. So I want to say thank you. So before we start, I'm pretty sure you already have a pen and notebook ready, but I want you to be able to take notes so you can always refer back to it. But also if there's a question that you want to pose and you don't want to forget it, take down your notes. There's going to be a little bit of nuggets here and there of info that I will be dropping. So questions, we can take questions throughout the presentation. I do believe Dwaynia says that we can have a question and Q&A session after the presentation. So I think we're going to probably reserve that for later, but definitely also write down your questions so we can address them. So are you in the right place? I know you are, but if you are in the right place, if you are ready to grow your influence, your online visibility, you want to position yourself as the expert in your niche on Pinterest. Now, Pinterest is one of those places that everybody goes to because they do look for you as the expert. And there's a ton of information out on Pinterest to help your ideal audience. You want to attract your dream audience and your dream clients by connecting with them. And you can do that definitely on Pinterest. And you also want to grow your business that feels authentic to you. This is one of the big things that I really want to leave with you is that you hear a lot in the service-based industry. You know, you don't want to be too salesy, you don't want to be too preachy, you don't want to sell your services in a icky manner. You do hear that a lot. With Pinterest, you do not even have to. And this is why I love this platform. So I have a question for you. My question is, have you ever wanted to generate traffic to your business without the hustle? And this is the thing that I find with a lot of business owners. They feel like they have to truly hustle to get their name, their word, their message out there. You don't have to hustle with Pinterest. You really don't. And I'm going to once again show you and walk through steps on how you can prep your Pinterest account for generation of leads. I do want you to write down why do you feel like you haven't achieved the freedom in your business? And I say freedom in the sense of, like the previous slide, you want to be free from that hustle. You want to be free from thinking that you have to do all the things to gain that online visibility. I want you to really write that down, think about it, and write it down for yourself, okay? This is the big thing. You want to just sit back and let the clients and the sales come to you for once. You don't want to feel like you have to chase after clients, or you have to put up all these sales tactics, or try these, all these sales tactics to get leads. You just want to sit back and let it auto generate for you. And Pinterest, once again, Pinterest will do that for you. Now, this is a big question that I hear quite often in my industry from business owners. A lot of business owners do not know the role that Pinterest plays in today's society, in today's social media marketing. So Pinterest is definitely clumped in the social media channel realm, but as I'm going to go through my slides further, I'm going to show you and tell you how Pinterest is actually quite different. So a little bit of an overview on Pinterest. Pinterest currently is the third most popular dominating social media outlet in the world. Yes, it is. Business Insider actually put out a report stating this. Pinterest has shot leaps and bounds over the years, actually beating out Snapchat. You know, when Snapchat came out and it was like the big thing, Pinterest actually started off very, very slow. And over time, people have realized the importance of Pinterest, not only for their personal life, but for their business. And then Pinterest actually started to beat out a lot of the new social media outlets that everybody thought was going to be what was going to sustain, social media. And this is the thing with Pinterest. Pinterest is about long-term sustainability. I always try to leave with business owners the knowing that Pinterest is not a short-term thing. You don't get onto Pinterest, put out a graphic, and expect it to automatically generate and populate interest and leads. It takes time. It takes a long time, actually. And I have to tell people that because in our society today, everybody's, on Instagram and you like something instantaneously, but Pinterest is definitely one of the best ways to sustain your marketing for your business. So Pinterest is a platform that all business owners can use. There's equal opportunity. And I'm going to go back to Instagram, and I love Instagram because I use it for my business a lot. But Pinterest is everybody that goes onto Pinterest. There's no let's catch up to get followers and get the 10,000 swipe up. You don't get that on Pinterest. Okay. It's a definite shift with my clients. I have to educate them sometimes on the daily. I have to educate them that it is a definite mind shift from that platform where you get everything instantaneously, but nobody is, going to gain more followers than another, and then they get swipe ups and everybody else is left behind. Everybody's on the same playing field. Corporations, schools, I could go on. Okay. So Pinterest users, and this is one of the biggest things about Pinterest, is that the users are in discovery mode. You go onto Pinterest when you want to learn something. You want to aspire to be something greater than yourself. You want to plan. I know I planned my whole wedding on Pinterest, and that's one of the biggest generators on Pinterest is weddings, wedding planning, and everything down to the T. My my wedding decor, the theme, everything. And I still have my boards. Actually, I put them secret, but I still have my boards from when I got married. But that's what you go to Pinterest for. You want to really plan your life, and you want to, you want to also get help to solve your problems too. People go to Pinterest if they have oily hair problems and they want to find a solution on how to correct their oily hair. So this is one of the big things I want to leave with you. Pinterest is all about that discovery phase. And honestly, do know that Pinterest truly wants to help you. Pinterest wants to show your work, your content to a greater audience. And Pinterest does a lot of things to actually help you. When you are on Pinterest naturally, Pinterest starts to pick up on your activity and it starts to rank it in trends. And Pinterest has very sophisticated intelligence where it's, like I said, it starts to know your trends, it starts to know what you like, it starts to read what you're pinning. And when it gets an idea of the type of content that you like or your audience likes, when you open up to your Pinterest app, you will go to your home feed, and on your home feed will be a bunch of content that Pinterest sourced out for you. You don't have to go look for it. If you're looking for ways on how to blog, and you start pinning things the night before about how to blog, and when you go on to Pinterest the next day, Pinterest will find more sources for you. That's an amazing feature with Pinterest, okay? And it wants to help you. So getting to this part, who am I? My name is Christina Willis. I am the founder of West of 100 Interiors. I am a Pinterest strategist and a Pinterest consultant. I love to deep dive into Pinterest. I find it so fun to just really build strategies for business owners to grow their reach and to generate profits. That's one of my favorite things. I also provide advice to business owners if they are seeking, solutions to solve their problems. If they are managing their Pinterest for their own selves, or they have a team that's managing their Pinterest, but there's certain tweaks that they want to improve on with their strategy, then I will consult with them. So a little bit of background story about me. Not many people know this. I am a registered nurse, and I have been for 13 years, and I still am a registered nurse. Even through this whole COVID pandemic, I've still been working. And I love nursing. Nursing has taught me so much. It's taught me how to be mentally tough. It's taught me how to push myself beyond my limit, mentally and physically. I'm very used to being up 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. It's not even a thing to me anymore because I work a lot of night shifts. But I've worked in various areas of education. I've taught at the university, worked in medicine, I've worked in emergency, long-term care, and currently right now I'm working in high-risk obstetrics, maternal child care. And I love that. I love that area. But about me, a little bit more about me, I am a former home decor and DIY blogger. And I got into home decor and DIY blogging from literally feeling so drained from nursing. As much as I love it, I was feeling so drained. I just needed something other than theoretical knowledge. When you are in medicine or you're in a career where it's very black and white, work strict according to strict policies, you have little to no room for creativity. And that's what blogging has done for me. About 3 years ago, I moved in almost 4 years ago, I moved into my current home right now, and I just could not stand my bathroom. It was like the 90s tile on the floor, and I went straight to Pinterest for inspiration, and I found all these tutorials on how to paint your tile. And I read all that I could read. Within a weekend, I bought all the stuff and I painted out my tile, and it looks amazing even till this day. And from that, that was what sparked my interest in home decor and blogging. Sorry, I forgot to also mention, like I also from this, I started a blog. I was trying to find ways to get traffic to my blog, but I couldn't. Um, I was finding it very difficult to do the SEO my own self. And with all my research, it then showed that Pinterest was the best way for me to get leads to my site. So I delved into Pinterest. Um, I learned as much as I could. I took a course. I applied all the tactics, and my website traffic just blew up. And from there, I knew I was onto something good. So my blogging days have served me well with my new career as a Pinterest strategist. So I always say to clients, to anybody, your brand, you have your brand. Your brand is what, um, people say about you or your product or your content. Like if you were to leave a room, it's that experience that people get from you. Pinterest will help. That your Pinterest strategy will help you get to that brand, that solid brand identity that you want. Okay, you want um, people to feel like you are the go-to source. You are the expert in what you do, and they feel so confident. Excuse me, in the knowledge that you give, that they are always going to go to you. And Pinterest will definitely help present you with that online visibility to increase your brand identity. Now, excuse me, take a sip of water. Now, the goals that I have for this presentation, I really want to show you how Pinterest can help grow your business influence and awareness and position you as that expert in your niche. I want to show you that Pinterest can help you attract your clients, grow your business, like I said, in that authentic way, and for you to build a thriving business and make a positive impact on the world with your message. So there are 4 pillars of Pinterest that I really like to focus on with my clients, with my own self, and when I teach. And these 4 pillars are very, very basic, but they're effective. You always want to be clear with your message. When people, excuse me, are going through Pinterest and they come across your pin graphic, you want them to understand your message right away. And that's a very important thing. You also want to be consistent, that when people see your pins, they recognize your style, okay? And they know that it's coming from your blogs. They want to know that these are your brand colors. Going back to your branding, you want when people come across pins that they just know immediately, yes, that's a Christina Willis West of 100 pin. You also want people to take action. This is something that you really have to think about strategically when you are formulating your message. You want people to take action. You have to even put into your pins, when you're creating your pins, click here to get X. Sign up now. Download this. These are actions that you want people to take so you can make that connection with them. Okay? And you also want to build that credibility. You want people to truly believe that when you make a claim in your Pinterest graphic, or even if they land onto your site, you want them to believe that you can deliver on your promise. These are very, very important. You don't want to mislead people. You don't want them to lose that like, know, and trust with you. So these are the 4 pillars that I love to focus on. My question that I have for you is, do you feel, if you're looking at your business currently, that your business targets these pillars? I'm pretty sure that you do. There's sometimes 1 or 2 of the pillars sometimes are not as strong as we want, but that's okay. If they aren't 100%, nothing truly is. We always have to tweak and go and to change things as we evolve in our business. But today, I hope to change that for you. So just to give a really good background of what Pinterest is, it's not what a lot of people think. It's not a social media channel. It is actually a visual search engine. Pinterest is on the same playing field as Google. When you go to Google and you're searching for something, you type, there's a search bar, and you're going to type in, let's say, home decor ideas. It's the same thing with Pinterest. You are going to type in something to a search bar, but the only difference is between Google and Pinterest is that Google is very text heavy and Pinterest is very visual heavy. You are always going to see images more than anything. Okay? It's not a social media outlet. When Pinterest first started out, it did start out with the same sort of foundations as all the other social media channels. And some of them still are today. You still get followers on Pinterest. You can still like in graphic. You can definitely share it. And sharing is when you repin it. But to say that you are going onto Pinterest to truly socialize and communicate with people, you don't do that. They do have features that you can send messages to individuals, but no one really uses that aspect because Pinterest functions very, very different. But that's what I want to also let you know is that it's definitely not a social media. You can go on Pinterest to socialize, but probably not a lot of people will respond to their messages. You want to attract the right audience with your Pinterest, and you can definitely do that. You attract your audience with your message, going back to the pillars, your message, your pin designs, the actions that you want them to take. That's how you really pulling your audience. And like I mentioned prior, all businesses and brands can use Pinterest. You have, I was just doing a strategy the other day for a church that is actually for priests. And they actually wanted to use Pinterest. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is like the best thing ever. So just know that literally anyone can use Pinterest for their business and brand. So just dissecting Pinterest a little bit, I did mention that people go to Pinterest for inspiration and for a solid meaning. Pinterest was developed by Ben Silverman, Evan Sharp, and Paul Sakarya. They were best friends. Ben Silverman actually was en route to go to medical school, become a doctor, do what his parents wanted. And he did that for a little while. He was in med school, but then he realized this is not the life that I want. I don't want to only be doing one thing. There's so much more to this life. And he then left and started working in tech, and that's where he met these other 2 gentlemen. So as they started going on and building Pinterest, Ben Silverman actually used the term that it's the anti-social media outlet. Going back to the slide I was talking about, that it's not social media, you don't go on it to socialize, and it's very true. He wanted to build a platform that got people off of the platform. He wants people to not be stuck on social media. And that's one of the sole premises of it. I have a 14-year-old niece. She will be on TikTok for 4 hours. And I kid you not. Why? You have to think also as a business owner, why does a social media platform want to keep you on? I mean, you can rightfully come off of it anytime. We all have free will. But the whole thing about some social media channels is that you are on it and you go down a rabbit hole real quick. And then you don't even realize, oh my goodness, you know, but he wants to get people off and to start living, because that's the whole point of our lives. You want to experience things. You want to discover, um, what's out there. How can I make my bathroom beautiful? What's a new meal plan that's going to help me and my family? I'm so busy. I have children. That's what people go to Pinterest for. When you look back at Pinterest, 2009 it developed. 2010, Pinterest gained its first 10,000 users. Now, Pinterest, when it first started out, was an invite-only platform. It was like real legit. Like you had to have an invite. That's how, excuse me, that's how, um, oh my goodness, sorry guys. That's how tight Pinterest was. Pinterest ranked top 10 of the largest social media network sites, and Pinterest currently has 336 million active users a month. That's a month, and that number is probably higher now since the pandemic happened. People were going to Pinterest in droves, trying to find how to make a home office, and then people are going to Pinterest trying to find out how to cut their own hair at home. It's like that number has definitely peaked higher. But what does this mean? This means that Pinterest is truly a powerful platform. Like I said, people go there to discover, to get inspiration. They want to plan and they want to research. Pinterest is that, excuse me, guys. Pinterest is that platform. So a little bit of stats about Pinterest, and a lot of people think that Pinterest is more for women, which it very much so is. When Pinterest was developed, it definitely was the target audience was, at-home moms. The platform still carries a heavy load of women on there. And if you are a business owner, I highly recommend that you use Pinterest if your target audience is women, because of the percentage. 70% of women use it. But that does not mean that men do not. Men are the fastest growing demographic on Pinterest currently. In 2014, men actually doubled in users. And 1/3 of all signups to use Pinterest, the Pinterest platform, are actually coming from the male population. So men are on that platform just as much. The main areas that men actually are using for Pinterest right now is technology. That's one of the big areas, and education. But men are on there, definitely so. Men go on there if they want to learn about, a new car, for example. BMW the other day, a little while back, came up with new features for some of their vehicles, and they put all of that information on Pinterest. And men flocked to it because they could actually see and get that emotional feel for the product before they actually made that purchase. So George Loewenstein in 1994 coined this term. He did say that curiosity comes from an informational gap. Now, when you go onto Pinterest, you are curious about things. The same thing when you go onto Google, you're curious how things work. You want to understand, how to write a book. It's the same thing. You're curious, you want to go and to a search engine to find that answer for you. What you know and what you want to know is definitely found on Pinterest. Excuse me. Even when you go into Google and you type something into the Google search engine, it will now auto-populate Pinterest mixed in with Google rankings because it's exactly on par. It's exactly functioning the same way. So another question I have for you, if you could not use one social media outlet, what one would that be? And I ask this because I've had a few business owners come to me saying that they are frustrated with certain social media outlets and they feel like they're not using it well, or they're just tired of always being on it to actually, favor with the algorithm. The list can go on. So I ask this to you because I don't want you to feel like you have to be on all the social media outlets. Pick the ones that you feel your audience is definitely on. And for sure, if your audience is on Instagram, because Instagram is a visual social media outlet as well, they are for sure on Pinterest, without a doubt. So I always like to say to business owners, if you find that you're not using a social media outlet like Twitter, I know I signed up for Twitter when I first started my business and I don't use it. I just say drop it, just forget about it, but pick up Pinterest because Pinterest will definitely gain that online visibility that you want. Now, some Pinterest problems. These are problems that I did my market research, and I actually sat down with some business owners, almost 50 business owners. I did a bit of research over time, and these were the common themes that came up every single time that we were talking. They feel like they don't have enough time to learn Pinterest. They think it's way too time consuming. A lot of business owners felt like they were not up to date with the practices. They didn't know how to pin effectively for that growth. They were unsure of the use that Pinterest could have for their business. They're not aware of how Pinterest can actually reach a new audience. And this is the big thing. There are a lot of business owners that don't feel like it has any value. And the priority for Pinterest, because of that, the priority for their marketing is super low. But I want you to know the opportunities that you have on this platform are amazing. The opportunities can help you in so many ways to get that increased participation. Users participate with your brand by pinning your content. That's how you get that participation. When you put content out there, and you're going to hear me say pin image, Pinterest graphic. You're going to hear me use those interchangeably. They all mean the same. It's when you go onto Pinterest and you see essentially a pin, what it's called, that's what it is. And they pin that content to their boards. The opportunities for increased engagement are content feed Pinterest. The more content that you are able to put out there, and there are various types of content that you can put out there, but I'm just going to lump it all in one. You can, the content fuels Pinterest. You can put blog posts and videos. You can put you can repurpose your Instagram posts to Pinterest. You can do webinars. You can promote webinars on Pinterest. You can promote your educational products, your digital services. You can literally do everything and anything on Pinterest to promote your content. And the more content that you have, the better for you, because every week you'll have a ton of stuff to trickle out. And the opportunity for increased traffic is amazing. Every pin that you put out on the platform, you will link it to your website, preferably, but you will link it to a landing page. It will go back to its original content. That's how you drive traffic. It's by the linking of your pin to a direct URL. increased sales that you can get from Pinterest, users can find your products where to buy. There is a stat that has come out that over 70% of users, active Pinterest users on the platform, discovered a new product just from being on Pinterest itself. They discovered a new product, a new service, a new educational information, all from being on this platform. People are using it, and they use it a lot. And another opportunity that Pinterest gives you, it helps you to learn a lot more about your audience. And I will put this out there and say, Pinterest is free marketing. You can pay for sponsored posts on Pinterest, just like any other platform. You can pay for Facebook ads, but Pinterest is free marketing. I encourage you to get on it because you will learn about your customer. So one of the main things that people want to know is, how do I start? So the solution is, even Dwania mentioned it as well, is you convert your personal account to a business account. When you do that, the previous slide said that it helps you to learn about your customer, your audience. When you convert from a personal account, you get a bunch of analytics. Now, as a business owner, you know data is what drives your next step in what you do. And you could find tons of details about what your audience is liking, what resonates with them. Even for me, I'm going to give my own self as an example. I put out pins every week. It sounds like a lot, but I'm going to let you know later on how you can do that. But every week I put out content. And when I go into my analytics, which I look at it a lot more often than I usually recommend people to do, I can see directly the exact pin that people are liking. And when I say that, it depends on the way I designed the pin, depends on the message that was on it, how I worded it. You get so much analytics. You get to see what categories your audience likes. You can see where in the world they're coming from. It's almost the same as your Google Analytics. You get to see a bunch of information like that when you convert. So this is actually on the back end of my personal account. This is a bit of audience insights. You can see, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell, but because I was a former home decor and DIY blogger, I still have a great majority of people in my audience that are still following me because of that. And I still pin that content because home decor, there's certain rankings on Pinterest that do really good, like home decor, beauty and hair. Um, oh my goodness, now I'm going blank. Um, home decor, beauty and hair, um, education. These are ranking very high on Pinterest. And my analytics does show that. Okay, you find out a lot about the people that follow you. So another thing that you want to do is you want to apply for rich pins. What a rich pin does, oh, and food. I forgot that was the other one. Food is huge on Pinterest. But what rich pins does, when you apply for it, it pulls more data automatically for you from your content. And this is a very good example of a rich pin. This is a food blogger that I love to follow, Pinch of Young. And she makes beautiful recipes. They're very simple, but she's applied for rich pins that when you actually go onto the pin, it actually gives you all the details, like especially for the ingredients. It doesn't give you the instructions, but it gives you the ingredients that you can just quickly, if you're at a grocery store, for example, and you don't necessarily want to like click into the post and search all the way down to the bottom to actually find the recipe, the rich pin gives front and center the information that the user needs for ease and for their ease. And that's what a rich pin does. But you want to also, you have your profile and account to optimize, because Pinterest is an extended arm of all of your digital marketing strategies. Your content and strategy pinning, you want to be consistent with that. You want to always put out content, a certain amount of content every week, or excuse me, every day, actually. You want to be pinning consistently because, like I mentioned, being on Pinterest, consistency is key. And you want to optimize your website. This is very, very big. You want to optimize your website, your blog, wherever you share your information. If you have a shop, anything, you want to optimize it for this reason. The other things that we focus on is pin creation. Now, pin creation is that the Pinterest graphic or the Pinterest image. You want to create these pin images that are optimized for the platform. They have to be in a certain dimension. So 2 to 3 times 2 to 3 ratio is what's best. And that's what Pinterest finds works best for the platform. So it's actually a little bit more taller than wider. And that's what catches people's eyes. But when you're creating, even if you have a graphic designer who's creating your Pinterest graphics, there are certain keys that you have to think about. You want to make sure you have a clear title. You want to make sure that it's people can read it, because remember, people scroll very fast on Pinterest. You literally probably have about I think the research says 1.7 seconds to catch somebody's attention. So you want to use your branded image, your branded colors, yes, but you want to do it in a nice way that will catch somebody's attention. And you want to optimize your pins accordingly. And you optimize your pins by putting in keywords. Now, keywords on Pinterest is like SEO of Google. It's like the meat and potatoes. You put in these words that your audience is actually looking for. So I'm going to go back to the home decor. If I want to know how to paint my bathroom floors, I would type that in, and then I would see predictive text that would actually drop down to show me what my audience is looking for. Now, profile optimization. This is what you want to start and to do. And I do with all my clients, and I encourage everyone to start in this way. It's not as hard as it seems, because the first thing you want to do is change out your image. And I always say to put your image, a nice clear image with nice space around you that people can see you. Research has shown that images of people favor better, and people will start to follow an account more if they actually see an image of somebody. You can get away with it without putting your image if you are a big corporation. For example, like Nike, they can just put the swoop. Wayfair, they can just put their logo. Baskin Robbins could just put their logo as well. It's okay for them because they're a big corporation. When you're a small business owner or a business owner in general, you really need to make that solid connection with your audience, and putting that image, it sounds so small, but putting that image really does help. I actually finished the strategy session with an interior designer, and she told me that she never liked to put her image on any of her social media outlets. She always put her logo, or even on her website, she never had her image. And she was wondering why she wasn't getting conversions. And I told her, you need to change out your image. It will help. And she did it. And then 3 weeks later, she messaged me saying that she got three customers based off of that. It's something so small, but it does take effect. You have board covers. Now, board covers are just simple graphics that you can make that will be front and center when somebody's scrolling onto your profile. It helps to communicate your visual branding. And then you have your board organization. I like to organize boards not alphabetically. Some people do that, and that is actually not the best way. When somebody lands onto your profile, they want you should have your brand board front and center. Don't have it all the way at the bottom and don't have it in the middle, because it's just like when I visit somebody's website, I want to go straight to the blog tabulation because I want to find all of their content. It's the exact same way with Pinterest. You want to have your brand board right up at the top. So if anybody wants to look at all the information or get all your blog posts, it's right there. And I also want to mention that you can also, it's not just for blogs, you can also have boards for your brand, yes, but you can also section it off as Instagram content. So anything you post on Instagram, for example, you can repurpose that and put that into a specific board for Instagram. You put a specific board out for even for your IGTVs. I've done that for myself and I've done that for clients. And people love that. When they go onto your profile, they can get lost in all the information that you have right up at the top for them. You want to make it easy for your customers to engage with your content. Now, content strategy and content marketing, you want to think about your products or anything that you build. You want to share that material with your audience. Now, if you see this image here, these are actually board covers that I've created for my personal account. And this is actually what you would see if you were to go on my Pinterest account. Board covers also just, I'm kind of sidetracking it, but board covers just help to build that cohesive look. And like I said, people scroll very, very quickly. Sometimes they don't know, like sometimes people don't read what actually the board is. So if you actually have a board cover that's with a color and there's some sort of contrasting image or graphic on there, people will actually draw their eye to that and will actually take their time to read your content. So it's a little, almost like a little psychology trick, but it does work. The other thing with your content strategy is your pinning strategy. I recommend that you schedule a lot of your pins. I'm going to get to the scheduling app that I use. But when you are scheduling your pins, I want you to schedule 95% of it. That's a big number. And I say 95% of your pins, I want you to schedule. And when I say your pins, it's not all of your content. You want to mix your content with other people's content, okay? The recommended guideline is an 80-20 split. 80% you want to be sharing other people's content, and then 20% you want it to be of yours. Why do you say this? Because a lot of you have to think logically. We all are so busy with our businesses and life. You don't have time to sit down 100% and create content. So what do? You share other people's content. And I had this question posed to me by one of my clients. She said, I don't understand the whole 80-20 split. Why am I going to be sharing 80% of somebody else's content, a bunch of other people's content and I'm giving them traffic when I'm the one who's wanting traffic? This is a very good question. And I'm going to let you know. When you share content, your piece of data is left last on that pin. Pinterest is, like I mentioned earlier, Pinterest is so sophisticated. It has very, very sophisticated AI. There's 3 layers to a pin. You have your image, which is just the image itself. But when you upload your image, you're uploading your image into that Pinterest template or even into the Pinterest backend with your data. So there's data going onto that image. Then you have the template. So if you're uploading your content into the Pinterest template itself, there's data already imprinted into that template. And then you have what's called under the hood. The engineering under the hood is under the template and your image and everything. That's where your more information is being collected about you. Unfortunately, I mean, it's kind of a scary thing, but your location, your further details. It's not to like pry into your information, but this is how content is collected. When you make a pin of somebody else's content, your information, like I said, is last left on that. It might not be my content, but if you were to scroll down the pin, you would see my image because I'm the last person to be in contact with that pin. Somebody would then see my profile image and my profile name 80% of the time. And they would get more interest in me and say, oh, who is that? Oh, she's a content creator. She helps, business owners with Pinterest. Let me click on her profile. Let me click on her image. And that's how you get seen more. It's not by sending more traffic to other people. It's because 80% of the time you are imprinting yourself on pins, and that sharing ability is what's helping to get you out there more. Plus you being on it and sharing your own content too. But that's a big part of the pinning strategy, is doing an 80% of a share and 20% of yours. I hope I understood, clarified that for you. And ask me questions more about that, but I just wanted to kind of like dive into that a bit more. Now, pinning strategy that works, you cannot be in every place at the right time. You can't be on Instagram at the optimal times and then be on Facebook at the optimal times. Pinterest takes care of this for you with an approved Pinterest scheduler called Tailwind. Now, Tailwind is, oh, my image shifted. It looks kind of funny. Tailwind gets you in the right places at the right time. Tailwind is the schedule that Pinterest uses, and it pulls more data from you. So if the image wasn't shifted, I should have checked that. But this is actually, like I said, in the back end of my own Tailwind account. What you see some pins here that I have in a draft folder that I would add to the right side, which is my scheduler. That's my schedule. So what Tailwind does is it actually goes and communicates with Pinterest, finds out further details about your audience. It finds out what are the optimal times that your audience members are on, and based off of that data that Tailwind pulls, it will then send out your information, send out your content. You don't have to do anything further. You literally put things in your draft folder, add it to your scheduler, and Tailwind will say, okay, it's 7 o'clock now. Christina's audience is most on at this time. Let me send out the pins for her. You set it and forget it. And this is why I love Pinterest, and this is why I love Tailwind as well. So when you come to website optimization, oh my gosh, my images are not here. Sometimes this happens. So your website optimization, your homepage is the first introduction that people have of your business. Pinterest does not favor sending a lot of traffic directly to your homepage. It doesn't really find that that's best practice. You always want to send people to your blog or a landing page. Because that's the content that people want. And then if they navigate to your homepage, that's fine. But your homepage is the first introduction that your audience will learn about you. You want to optimize your blog posts. And from a business perspective, blogging is so powerful. A lot of business owners that I've come in contact with do not want to blog. They don't have the time to blog. They don't like blogging. And I understand that aspect because it does take time, but I still encourage you, even if you were to put out 1 or 2 blog posts a month, and they don't have to be super long. You're not trying to rank in Google's terms. And if you are, with Google, you have to write 2,000 to 3,000 words to even get into Google's ranking if you want to get on the first page of Google. You don't have to write a ton of stuff unless you find it's beneficial for your audience. But even if you just put out content, because that content is going to help your audience really understand you and the way that you think and the way that you formulate your products. It's going to give them a more insight to you. And you also want product pages that convert. Remember that Pinterest users, the typical customer journey is 2 to 3 months. When somebody discovers your pin, they're not going to necessarily convert right away. They're going to save it, and they're going to save it into their board. And research has shown that customers will not return back to that pin until about 2 to 3 months after. And then that's generally when they will make the conversion and buy your product, sign up for your services. Now we're coming to pin creation. And I love to use this free tool called Canva. Canva is the best thing that I've discovered. I am coming, like I mentioned before, I come from home decor and DIY blogging, where I would create mood boards all the time when I was creating, trying to make over a bedroom or a kitchen or anything. So I'm very used to InDesign and Photoshop and everything. When I discovered Canva, I can't even remember the last time I even went back to Photoshop, because the ease of being with Canva, it's just so much better. If you're familiar with it, you understand they have a ton of templates, free templates that you can use. Now, I do use the pro account because I use Canva a lot for myself and for my clients, but the free sign up, they give you like so many choices. And this is what I use all the time to create graphics and social media graphics. Now, oh, this is supposed to be a video. I don't know if it's going to play, but you can also use Canva to create video pins. Video pins and carousel pins are really doing good. Now, carousel pins are, if you're, for example, you're on Instagram and you see somebody makes a post and they say swipe to the right to find out more information. They might have 4 slides in one. It's the same thing with Pinterest. You can do carousel pins just like that. I did create this video pin, but like I said, it's not playing right now. But like I said, video pins are taking off. I have 2 clients who I use video pins for a lot, because one is a hairstylist and she likes to show the process of things that she does for her clients. And the other client I have is a professional organizer. So she does a lot of like IGTVs. And then I repurpose her IGTVs into video pins. And as soon as I post them for her, like anytime my team and I do that, it takes off. So it's just like Instagram stories. People are watching videos a lot. So I encourage you, if you are thinking of using Pinterest and you have IGTVs, or you just hop on and do a quick video, repurpose that and put it out as a video pin, and you will see a big change in your analytics. Now, keyword research in Pinterest is what's going to connect you with your audience. Like I mentioned, when you're ranking for Google, you're using like a lot of SEO practices, and keyword research in Pinterest is like that. It's like your SEO. These are the words that your audience is actually putting into the search engine, and over time, Pinterest is collecting this data of what the trends are. And when you're trying to understand your audience and what their pain points are, you need to do this keyword research. And I'm going to show you eventually how to do that. So this here is a example of one way to do keyword research. You literally go into the search engine, the search bar, and just like Google, even before you finish typing your word, it's going to have a drop down. And this is called predictive data. This right here, where you see Pinterest strategy for business, Pinterest strategy for bloggers, this is actually what people over time have been putting into the Pinterest search engine. And this is what my audience is looking for. So when I'm creating content, I know exactly now I need to create content that's for bloggers on how they can use Pinterest. I need to create content for business owners because business owners use Pinterest. Take these keywords and write them down, keep them on a Google Doc. I use Google Sheets and I just type in all these keywords and I have it as a reference because also when you create your pins and you are writing your pin title and your pin description, these are the keywords that you should and you need to have in so you can rank high. So that is a good way to do one form of keyword research. Another thing that I want you to take notice of is when you're doing keyword research and you type in your word into the search engine and you hit enter, all these tiles are going to come right underneath. And this right here is further keyword research. So, for example, if I now am trying to set up an account for someone, let's say if they want to, or even I shouldn't say necessarily account, let's say I'm going to set up a board for someone and they want to have a Pinterest strategy board. I type in Pinterest strategy and I see the predictive drop down. I see what I can use in my pin description, but the tiles here now I'm going to look at and I'm going to say, I'm going to take Pinterest strategy for business. And then that's what I'm probably going to label my board as. And when I do that, because if somebody then goes into the Pinterest search engine and they choose Pinterest strategy for business, and when they hit enter, preferably, and there's also a little drop down. If you see to the right of the search engine, it says all pins right now, but if you were to click on that drop down, there's choices that you could choose for, like you can change it that you can search for boards, people. If they were to type in Pinterest strategy and went to boards, even if I have my board titled Pinterest strategy for business, I would still rank high because I put in more keywords, additional keywords that will tip in their favor. And then they would find my content and they would find my profile and would preferably become a follower of mine on Pinterest. So these tiles are what you can use to add into your pin titles, furthering to your pin titles if you want, or your pin description. The only thing that I want to caution anyone that I mention this to is you cannot and should not what's called keyword stuff. You don't want to, when you're making your pin title, and your pin description, you want to make it as natural as possible. So I'm going to give a quick example. I would say how business owners can use this Pinterest strategy to gain traffic. That's just a pin title, but when your Pinterest description, your pin description now, you want to say this blog post will show bloggers how to use a Pinterest strategy that is, that is for 2020. It's updated for 2020. It's a quick 10 minutes a day that you can use this Pinterest strategy to grow your following. And you can also use Tailwind. Like I'm trying to pull in these tiles and the keywords from these tiles in a natural way. You don't want to stuff it like for bloggers, for business, for blog, ebook, because Pinterest will see you as spam and they will shut down your pin and they will shut down your account. And it's happened numerous times before. So you don't want to go to Pinterest scale. Now, plan execution. When you are trying to get everything going for you, you want to focus on the visual content of your website, images, videos. That's your marketing. You want to really use your analytics because you want to track your top trending content that's pinned. And you also want to know, and you want to interact with your community. You want them to follow, or excuse me, you want to follow people, brands, businesses that are in your niche or that have are of inspiration, and you want to share their pins. So I mentioned how you want to share other people's content about 80% of the time, and then 20% yours. This is in relation to that because it helps to build that community. And if 9 times out of 10, if you share somebody's content, that will populate a notification to that person And then they will click on that notification, they will see you, and they will check you out. And they will go to your profile, and if they like what they see, they will follow you. And that's the whole purpose of the sharing as well. You want to create style boards that focus on trend setting or seasonal collections. If you are in home decor, if you are, DIY crafter, seasonal content is huge. And you always want to know what the trends are because you want to plan for that. And if you are in a business where you have trends, seasonal trends, I always suggest to anyone, you have to put your content out 45 days minimum in advance to that actual celebration or that event or that season. So for us here in Canada, Canada Day is around the corner. If I was going to create content for Canada Day celebration, I would have put my content out like 40 to 50 days back, because what's going to happen is that momentum will build up in the Pinterest realm and people will start to see it, and it will gain momentum. You actually have to put content out that far in advance for it to gain that viral momentum if you want your pin to go viral during that time. You want to promote engagement. This is a big thing. You want to cross promote on all your platforms, because when you do that, it's going to obviously build that followership you want. And not to say that followers, I mentioned, are going to get you any sort of badge or anything. Like, you're not going to get a swipe up like you would if you were in Instagram, but the followers help to share your content more too. Pinterest is all about sharing. So that's what the cross promotion will do. And you want to promote on your business profile on Facebook. You want to do it on Instagram. You want to do it on your blog, or excuse me, your website. Even in your blog post, you want to encourage people to follow you on Pinterest. You want to have your social network icons everywhere that you can on your website. That's very important. Okay, so just to do a bit of a recap. I know you want to have more freedom, you want to have more time. You don't want to be tied to Pinterest, you don't want to be tied to any social media outlet because you just don't have the time for that. We are living in a life now where we have to split ourselves in multiple ways. And it's just not possible to be on social media all the time. And you don't want to feel like you're trapped, that you always have to be on, that you always have to be, posting every day and commenting every day. It's so tiring. It's very tiring. And that's one thing that I found being on Instagram, for example. It's just so tiring. And with Pinterest, you can have that life. You can travel, you can do things, you can spend time, because Pinterest will always feed the algorithm with your content. Did you know that if you were to put out one piece of content, it can actually last up to 7 months? That's one pin. You pin that, and somebody will discover it, and they will keep repinning that and resharing that for you. One piece of content can last up to 7 months. When you post something on Instagram, especially a story, you only got 24 hours. It's such a small time frame, and Instagram is where a lot of people spend time. And this is why I encourage people to get onto Pinterest, because you can put your content out there in an authentic way that doesn't feel like you have to be doing something that doesn't feel slimy or sleazy or time sucking. You can just get onto Pinterest and enjoy the experience and enjoy the content that you're putting out there and that people are repinning. You want to grow your visibility. You want to grow leads without that hustle, without that stress. Like I said, who wants that? We don't want that. We want to enjoy what we are doing as business owners. Okay? Your visibility will increase over time. And I'm going to stress once again, Pinterest is for the long term. It is not a short-term gain, because we want long-term sustainable growth with our business. Okay? You want the leads who are seeing your content to come to you and really truly enjoy what it is that you are putting out there. But your message, how you formulate your message, is another key factor, that goes back to the 4 C's of being clear, and being consistent. All of that helps to generate those leads without that stress and hustle. You want a simple solution to your marketing without adding more to your plate. I showed you that scheduler, the Tailwind scheduler. Once you set things 95% of the time in Tailwind, it will put that information out for you. It will put your content and other people's content out there. The last 5% is what I encourage business owners to do, is to go on the app and actually manually pin. So you go into your app, you see things into your home feed, and that's where you do the manual pinning, and you just pin things to your boards. What that does, what that does is signals to the Pinterest algorithm that A, you're enjoying the app, and B, that you are even more consistent on it. Pinterest years back used to penalize people if they were not if they were using a scheduler, and they changed that because they realized like it's just not possible for people to be sitting down and literally pinning all day. You would hear and see. I remember seeing Pinterest graphics of people saying, "Oh, I make $8,000 or $5,000 being a Pinterest pinner," or something of that nature. It's because people would literally sit at their computer all day and just pin. So Pinterest will get you away from that, but still you need to do a bit of manual pinning 5% of the time. And the best times to pin manually is Monday to Friday, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. These are key times because these times are when people are sitting down after dinner. Most likely your kids are gone to bed, usually not mine. And that's when you have time to unwind. And you could just sit, go onto Pinterest and just pin. And you can even spend half an hour, 15 minutes, but using the app during that time is favorable. Okay. What you also want to do is on the weekends now, you want to pin more. So Monday to Friday, the pinning, the pinnings, the pinning of your content, and what's best optimized is 15 to 25 pins a day. That's what research has shown is best to get momentum going with your account. But on the weekends now, you want to pin more because generally people have a little bit more time on the weekends that you can actually up your pinning game. So you don't necessarily even have to do it manually. In Pinterest, in Tailwind, I showed you back that slide where I showed you my Tailwind, the back end of my Tailwind. Tailwind will automatically auto-populate that for you. Once it pulls your data from your Pinterest account, it will actually set it for you. So even if you're pinning 15 to 25 times a day, it might up your pinning to 30 times a day. And then that's where you go in on the weekend and you do your manual pinning. So that's what's best optimized on the platform is 15 to 25 times throughout the day, every day, Monday to Friday, and then on the weekends up to 30 times. I want you to know that you're not the only person that's felt overwhelmed and stressed out with with social media and having to be on social media all the time. And I know you want to use Pinterest because you are ready for that change, because it can help you really stretch and grow your reach. Pinterest is different. People are going to it, like I said, in droves. They want to discover your content. They want to be inspired, and they want to aspire to do better and be better. So if you have that content, I encourage you to jump onto Pinterest and use it because you can definitely help change somebody's life. So I also want you to know that I got you. I love what I do, and I've helped business owners who are entrepreneurs, um, coaches, bloggers, interior designers, hairstylists, professional organizers, dog walkers, um, artists. Um, I helped, like I mentioned, the priests the other day. Like anybody can use Pinterest um, to really gain that online visibility. And I love figuring out that strategy to get that momentum going for your business. So in conclusion, I hope that I've shown you how Pinterest can help your business influence and attract your audience, grow your business in a way that feels authentic, that you don't have to be on the platform all the time, but it also will help you to build a thriving business for sustainable growth and make that impact on the world with your message. So where you can find me, these are the social media platforms that I currently use: Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest, of course. And my website is here if you want to find out further information about me. And I just want to say thank you so much for being here. This has been an amazing opportunity for myself, and I love teaching. I love teaching Pinterest. It's like I said, a great platform to be on. And I just wanted to give you a basic understanding of what Pinterest is and how it can help your business. So my business is West of 100 Interiors. Um, and I think we are probably good for our Q&A.
Yes, we are. So I'm jumping in. If you want to stop sharing your screen so
Sure.
everyone can just see both of us. Thank you so much. I wrote down quite a few. I think you're still sharing. Let me see.
Oh, yeah. I
Um,
am.
you have to press that little computer at the bottom.
Yeah.
There. Perfect. We do have a few questions. So everyone, this is the time to type in your questions too, but I'm going to go through the ones that were asked earlier. Someone wanted to know the difference between a board and a pin.
Okay. So a board is where it's like a file folder. And a pin is your image. So when you go into the back end of Pinterest, you are going to upload a pin image to make a graphic. And then, like I said, I'm going to use those words interchangeably, but your pin is what is telling your audience what your content is about. 5 ways to mow your lawn faster, for example. That's your pin. And then you take that pin. If you find that that's your content that resonates with you, you're going to take that pin and put it into your board, which is like your file folder. So all the pins on gardening, you could find everything in there.
Ah, great. Okay. How many boards are ideal?
So starting out, best practice says to start out with 10 to 12 boards. Start off in that manner, and then you work your way up as you feel fit. And as your content evolves, then you can add more boards. I do that with clients too. I add about 10 to 12 boards. And then if I find that their content is a little bit different than what they usually write about, like their content pillars, then I will add a different board. But you want to add your board strategically, um, in a way that's not going to be so random that anybody comes to your page, you're not going to understand it. Oh, I say page, but account.
Okay. Would you say to have like blogs as a board or break up the blog topics as different boards?
So in Pinterest, you can actually do your board as a blog board. I have that, and I do that for clients too. I have West of 100 Interiors -blog, and that's where I have all my blog content. Inside of your board, you can add things that's called sections. And then you section things off according to, for example, I'm just going to use me. I talk about Pinterest, then I would talk about account optimization. So I have a section for that. I have a section for pin creation. You can do it like that. The only thing now with sections, it used to be a big thing, and now it's like Pinterest is kind of pulling back on that. Sections don't really do much for your ranking, and it doesn't really feed the algorithm right. And when you're sometimes, and it's just mainly for the algorithm, but if you like to look into your board and see things sectioned off nicely, so when your audience comes to see your content, you can do that. But that's just one thing that Pinterest kind of said the other day.
Okay. I think you already answered some of these. I'm just going to repeat them. Is it better to have a business account separate from a personal account?
I would say yes. If you're using your business account, or if you have a business and you want to use Pinterest, separate it. It's just better for you and your like you want the analytics. That's the big thing that you'll get from it.
Okay, thank you. You covered this. How do you select verbiage to go with your pins to get listed higher? That's where you said to do the keyword searches. Okay, keyword searches. How do you apply? You said rich pins. How do you apply for rich pins? How does that?
Yeah, so when you go into your settings, like if you're, and I'm trying to remember visually, there is when you go into the settings and you go into, you have to claim your website too. And you actually have to add a little piece of metadata from Pinterest to your website. There's a way that you can apply for rich pins in that setup as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you create a pin that takes users to Instagram?
Absolutely. I do it all the time.
Okay.
I do it all the time. But what I suggest is when you're in Canva, and I do this for my clients, like I mentioned, who's the hairstylist and the professional organizer, I just create a very simple board cover, and I upload that board cover as a pin image, and then I just take the link, I link from their Instagram post, I copy that into the destination URL. So when somebody clicks on that pin image, it'll take them directly to Instagram. I do it all the time. That's how you repurpose your content. That's how you get more content out there into the Pinterest world. So use what you have, repurpose it. The only thing that I also want to mention is that when you send somebody to Instagram, you can't collect that data. You can't collect that analytics. So you don't really know, is it converting? What's their demographic? You don't know that data.
Okay, because that's actually a great way to send people to watch like your IGTV videos.
Yes, absolutely.
Carolina, I hope you're catching this.
Like I said, I do it for myself. I do it for my clients all the time.
Okay, I feel like I'm so behind on life. Great. For service-based business, I think you answered this already. Should we use our logo or a photo of ourselves?
Yeah, it's best to use your photo. Research states that it's best to use your photo because it helps to build that connection with your audience. I mentioned like big corporations can get away with that because they're just big corporations. When we're just starting out, people don't have that like, know, and trust with us. So you need to build that with them. And when you have an image that's clear and that's of you and you're smiling and you're happy, it helps to connect that with your audience.
Okay, I'm gonna go change that right now. That's a fail on my part. I'm gonna look in the chat right now. How often do you use original photos when creating graphics versus using graphics or photos from Canva?
It really depends on the piece of content. I do a mix of both. You can use your own branded photos, and if you have your branded or your lifestyle photos, and a lot of people use stock photography from Canva, or they purchase their own stock photography, like a subscription. So it really depends on the look and the feel of the type of pins that I want to create. I just use a mix of both. There's actually a research that was put out by someone who wanted to know, because she was looking at her analytics, she was wondering what pins were favoring more with her audience. And she realized that there's some pins that she thought was going to take off, did not. And they had photos in them, but they were free stock photos. Now, this is just one little research. So she changed out her free stock photos for paid photos, and she noticed that that did a whole lot better. And the reason why was because, and it makes sense, when you're looking at stock photos that are free, like I mentioned, Pinterest is very, very sophisticated. They have very sophisticated AI. They can read everything down to the detail. I told you that there's like those 3 layers of a pin. They can read right down to the depth of it. And some photos, so if I'm using a photo of like, you know, cupcakes, if I'm a baker and I'm using a cupcake photo that's free, I don't know who else has been using that photo. Somebody could have been using it for a baby shower, and somebody could have been using it for a birthday celebration or retirement celebration. Pinterest will read all those other pins with that image, and Pinterest will get confused and say, how am I supposed to categorize this pin? So sometimes those pins that you use with free stock photography don't even rank high. And then when you use a paid stock photography, you notice a big difference. That was the conclusion that I could come up with.
Yeah, and I mean, the good thing with Canva too, whenever you're using a Canva template, always do something to change it. Like, I mean,
Yes.
one, I always add my logo, that's a given.
Yeah.
And, you know, change some colors to your brand colors, like do something to make it different so that
Yes.
the overall image is now unique.
Yes. And the thing about it is Pinterest also says that when you're making various types of images, you need to make them different. Don't make them all the same. So don't have the same one pin and then you duplicate it and then just change out the background color. That's not going to do anything. You have to make it significantly, but non-significantly different, so they say. So if you have a photo and you just, which I love with Canva, is that it auto-populates into the frame for you. When you take a photo from Canva, you want to stretch the photo out and use different aspects of that photo because that makes it significantly different, that Pinterest will read it as a fresh pin. There's this term in Pinterest of fresh pins, and it's just because they want you to create newer images for your content that are not always the same. And fresh pins, and this is another thing I want to leave with you, is that if you don't have to be creating new content all day, every day. Like I said, it's just impossible. If you only blog 2 times a month, create 20 templates for the month in different styles, because you can always just create new content for the old blog posts that you have. And that's what's going to be considered as a fresh pin, if I'm explaining it right. If someone hasn't blogged, let's say in 2 months for various reasons in life, and you can't find yourself blogging at any time, just create content, new pins for the blog post that you've had from 2 months ago, and it would still be considered fresh in the Pinterest land.
That's actually good to know.
Yeah.
Okay. There was a clarification question. You don't use the IG photo, just the blank board?
I personally don't. You can just upload. You can upload the actual IG. What is this IG photo? I think like the IG. No, you can't.
I think she's thinking the image for the post on IG. Do you use that same image in Pinterest?
Oh, okay. I'm thinking video. Excuse me. When I have an IG photo, yes, you can upload it to Pinterest as well. You can do that. Yeah, I was thinking the video.
Like for the video, I plan on just using the cover photo of the video, but then the link to the IGTV.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah, but you can definitely because a lot of home bloggers do that. They just upload their same, pretty image that they took of their dining room, for example, and they just upload that straight to Pinterest. So
That's awesome. I already have an Instagram account for my store. How effectively can I collaborate between Pinterest and Instagram?
oh, you can do that, no problem. Do you have a Pinterest business account?
That's
Because if
Charlotte.
you,
Charlotte, do you have a business Pinterest account?
or is it just a personal?
Because I know I need to link all that stuff. I saw it there. I'm excited but very scared. No, I don't. Charlotte said she doesn't have a business Pinterest account.
Okay. If she has, so from what I understand, and correct me please, Charlotte, you have an account, but you want to use your Pinterest account to promote your Instagram. I hope I'm getting it right. If that's so, go ahead, start the account, and get it up and going, and then create boards that are content pillars of what you speak, like what you talk about on your Instagram account. I hope I answered.
If anyone has more questions, this is the time. I went through all the ones I had. This is the time. So you said how we can reach you, which is awesome. You have Pinterest packages and stuff that you can do, packaging for probably teaching everyone how to do everything.
Yes,
Packages
yes.
from, okay.
Yes. So I have two main packages that services that I offer. And the first one is Pinterest management for business owners. I mean, if they come to me and they're like, I'm so busy, I'm scaling up, I'm taking on, more opportunities. I don't have the time to do my Pinterest account. Can you please do it? We offer that service. And then the other one is if you are a DIYer, which I am a bit of that myself, I offer strategies. So I take all your information on the onboarding process. I get a bunch of information from you, and then I dive into your account, your Google Analytics, and then I formulate a solid plan for you that you can implement to get your Pinterest account up and going. Yeah. And keyword research. I do your keyword research for you.
What? We're talking after this. I'll tell you, because I can't do this at the time. I've started so early this morning. I'm like, oh, I feel like I need an afternoon nap because I've had meetings since 8 a.m.
Oh
That's
my God.
not right.
Yeah,
not
that's long.
I see Judy says my personal Pinterest account is all over the place. Should I create a new business account?
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah. You can actually create a new one and then link it to your accounts. Like you can link them together for when it's just for ease of when you sign in. But yeah, you can do that.
Okay. Is Tailwind for other social media accounts too? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Judy's saying if it's similar to Buffer. Like, I don't know. I use Buffer and I've used Tailwind before. I like Buffer because it's just easy. However, Tailwind is great for like those hashtags because it gives you the numbers. And yeah, I might actually re-download it on my phone because it's actually really good for hashtags. And clearly it's great for Pinterest.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, every single person that's on Pinterest, if they're not using Tailwind, you're just like, what is your problem? You need to use it because it does the work for you. It really does. I don't have to think when, my audience is on Pinterest best. It just knows and it will send the pins out for me.
That's actually really good. I'm going to look at that again. Oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
I feel overwhelmed.
No.
Oh, wow. Any other questions? All we have, I would like to say maybe about 15-ish minutes, 10, 15 minutes. if anyone has questions. If you want to put your Pinterest links here so that you can go it, there's nothing on my page, but you can go and look at it if you want. This one says, I'm using Later app for IG and Pinterest, her personal Pinterest account, and Crownfire for Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Do you think Tailwind is better than Later?
Oh. Well, you know what I'm going to say.
Love Tailwind. Why don't you use one app for everything?
Biased. Yeah, I'm kind of biased. I like Tailwind. I do. I know a lot of people use Later, and I used Later years ago, but I haven't used it ever since I discovered Tailwind. I've just left it. So I'm sure Later has evolved from when I first started like using it, but yeah, I just use that now personally.
Well, I might need to upgrade again. Like I said, I use Buffer. I use Canva as well. Canva is amazing if you're creating content. But this has been good. This has been really, really good. I'm very excited to jump back into the Pinterest world. I just actually went in to check my account. I realized that I had it under my first business. I'm like, what? I haven't even gone in here in this one. So I am going to get it together.
Yeah, I will say it takes a while when you first, like when I take over clients' accounts, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, it's going to take me forever because there's a lot to set up and there's a lot to like change out and clean up. But once you get that out the way, it's gravy. It's like smooth as butter. You don't even have to, I don't know. See, I'm going to go on.
There's nothing on my account. So when I call you, it should be easier. Nothing. I see someone says, great presentation. To clarify, this person is an artist and they want to know if they should have 20% of their content of Pinterest of their own work and 80% of other artists.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the suggested. So this it's a guideline. Like my sister is an artist and she's a macrame artist, and I helped her with her Pinterest, and that's what we set up for her. So we did an 80-20 split. These are all guidelines. You have to reassess your data about 3 or 6 months after to see what's really working. And then you tweak it, because I've also had clients who've gone up to a 50-50 split. I've had clients that have gone up to like 90% their content and 10%. Like, it really depends on your industry. So you really have to test out the 80-20 and see after 3 months, because it takes about 90 days for Pinterest to really truly index your content and to understand your content, to know whether you need to make those changes or not. So I always suggest start out with the 80-20 and then kind of manipulate.
So what if you have, I'm thinking of ways to like really trick this. What if you have, there's like a Pinterest page that's a collective that might post information about you, and then you pin from that page. Yeah. Does that count as somebody else's content still, even though it's about you, but it's from another page?
Oh, it would, because it's coming from their URL.
Guys, I just had a great idea. So it just really depends. If you can find collectives that are going to share your content, then you can do the same for them, obviously share their content, but you can also share your content from their page. So that's kind of cool. All right. Look at that.
Absolutely. I hope I answered. You know what? My slides,
they look good. What are you
I'm sorry,
about?
everybody. My slide, you know, when you stare at something for so long, I saw typos. I'm like, oh man. But you know what? Thank you guys. I appreciate it. my images got shifted.
It's okay. We learned something today. This was actually my 2 hours of personal development for the week. So
very good.
I learned something. I also learned that I need help. So, you know, as soon as this is done, we'll call you. And yeah, everyone, if you want to get through to, what I will do is I will send everyone who registered the link to rewatch, because, you know, you missed something and you want to take more
Mhm.
notes, I'll send you the link to rewatch. And I will also send you Christina's information so that you know where to find her when you need help. So let us make sure that we are going to apply all the things that we were taught today. And I'm proud to say that I will have a Pinterest page and I already have some ideas in my head of what I want to do with it.
Yes.
And I need to train my
Mhm.
team because I cannot do this. I'm still trying to put together a team. Sidebar, anyone knows any marketing interns from any of the, it doesn't even have to be local colleges, from anywhere that is looking for some marketing experience,
Oh.
please send them my way because I really do need some interns to help with everything. I have one person already, but she's going to need a team around her to get things going. And we have an event next week. So if you don't, if you like this, just think about it. We have an event next week with 5 workshops and 1 keynote speaker, and it will have video speed networking. It's all going to be on the same platform. You already have a login, so you might as well register. I'm going to put the link actually in the chat right now so that you all can see and come over and join the party because we have, I'm copying it right now to send to everyone. If you click on, where is it? No, wait, no, that's not where I want to go. Nope, this is where I want to go. Ah. I'm copying it right now to send to everyone. If you click on, where is it? No, wait, no, that's not where I want to go. Okay, hopefully everyone got it. I think we lost Christina. Yeah, so if you click on that link there, you will get the information for our next event, which is 5 workshops, networking, keynote speaker. You get it all. And the workshops are all great. You're going to cover marketing. We're going to cover social media. We're going to talk about starting a new business. Yeah, that's a great question. I think I lost Christina, but I'm going to ask that question too. Is it better to be on Pinterest.com? I will, yeah, I think we lost her. I will find out. I will actually write that down. That was a question that crossed my mind. I would say yes, but I'm not the expert. So yes, I will find out for you, ask the question, and I will get it to you. So thank you all so much. And you tried to do it with .com and it changed to .ca. Mine, I forced the .com, and I believe it might do .ca if your address and stuff in the settings is set to Canada. It might change it for them. So I didn't put my address in. I just did .com and went from there. Yeah. So enjoy the rest of your day. It's Tuesday. I have so much to do. I started at 8 this morning, but I do have something going on till about 10 tonight. So pray for me because I'll need it. Have a great day, and I will send everyone the link by the absolute latest tomorrow with the replay and with Christina's information. Okay? Bye, everyone. Thank you.